My name is Mia Ross, and this is the story of how I learned that family isn't always about blood, but about who chooses to love you. My parents loved me, or so they claimed, yet they never wanted me to live with them. My sister Emma and brother Brandon both stayed close by their side in New York, while I remained in the countryside of Wisconsin, living with grandmother Margaret. When I was secretly tucking money into Mother's purse one day, I accidentally glimpsed her unlocked phone screen, revealing a cruel conversation she was having with someone else about me. The words cut through my heart like daggers. I absolutely despise our youngest daughter. Perhaps because we never raised her ourselves, there's simply no emotional connection. I find her both foolish and unsophisticated. Another message followed. She mentioned wanting to move to the city with us, but we purchased a 3-bedroom apartment. Emma and Brandon each have their own rooms. There's simply no space for her. The final blow came with her next words. Honestly, it would be better if she didn't exist. I only wanted a perfect family of 4, a son and a daughter. She's truly superfluous. Every time we return home, I have to pretend to love her, and it's utterly exhausting. I wiped away my tears and quietly retrieved the money I had intended to give her. As a child left behind in rural Wisconsin, the holidays I anticipated most eagerly were Thanksgiving and Christmas. Only during these precious times would Father David and Mother Jennifer travel from New York back to our small town. Each visit brought delightful treats, new clothing, and conversations where they would praise my growth and academic achievements. Mother would tenderly apply moisturizer to my face, worried that the harsh winter winds might chap my skin. Father would slip money into my pocket, encouraging me to buy whatever snacks I desired. In return, I would proudly display the honor certificates I had accumulated throughout the year, performing earnestly, though somewhat awkwardly, the various skills I had learned in school. I often wondered if they might say those 3 precious words, "We missed you." Unfortunately, they never did. I felt such overwhelming joy during these visits that I could forget how my siblings Emma and Brandon treated me with disdain. Brandon, who was older than me, took particular pleasure in deflating my happiness. Once again, he deliberately punctured my unicorn balloon, sneering, "What a little country bumpkin, still playing with unicorns. Don't you know that kids in New York are all about Marvel superheroes now? You're so embarrassingly backwards, it's hilarious." I could no longer contain my emotions and burst into tears, clutching my destroyed balloon. "I love unicorns. Why did you ruin my balloon? You need to replace it." Brandon laughed mockingly. "This entire house belongs to me. Our parents' money is my money. Your balloon was purchased with my money, so I certainly won't replace it. If you dare ask me for money again, I'll tell my mother on you." I stood frozen, uncertain how to respond. Grandmother had always told me that boys carry forward the family name, that they are the foundation of the Ross family legacy. I couldn't upset my brother. If Brandon became angry, the entire family would be furious with me. I desperately wanted to avoid having my parents discover that I had angered him. As I attempted to escape the situation, I accidentally stepped on Emma's new shoes. She immediately shoved me to the ground, shouting, "Are you blind? How dare you step on my shoes?" Do you have any idea how much these cost? These are the latest Jordan sneakers, over $200 a pair. You little country girl, you're probably jealous that our parents don't buy you expensive shoes like these, so you stepped on them intentionally. I quickly knelt down to clean the scuff marks from her shoes. "Emma, I'm so sorry. I truly didn't mean to do it." Despite knowing they disliked me, I still harbored deep affection for them both. I had always envied children who enjoyed close relationships with their siblings. Our argument soon drew the attention of the adults. Mother Jennifer appeared in the front yard, and upon witnessing our conflict, she immediately attempted to mediate. "Emma, Brandon, please don't pick on your sister. You only see each other once a year. Why must you always fight?" Brandon struck the garden fence with a stick, responding defiantly, "Mother, that's not what you say when you're at home. How can you be such a traitor? You're the one who said you didn't like Mia, so I was just defending your honor." Upon hearing this, Mother's expression became rigid. "Child, what nonsense are you speaking? You're all my children. How could I possibly not love her?" She then pulled me to my feet and offered me a piece of candy. "Stop crying now. Mother scolded them for you." As I looked up at Mother, the pain from where Emma had kicked me seemed to disappear entirely. Yet somewhere deep inside, a tiny seed of doubt had begun to sprout. During the following nights, my dreams were filled with questions about whether my parents truly loved me. Sometimes I found the situation almost absurd. In a child's world, parents represent everything. When a child suddenly discovers that their parents don't actually love them, their entire world collapses. On December 28th, Father and Mother would depart once again. New York was tremendously far from our small Wisconsin town, requiring a 10-hour drive. They needed to leave early to make the journey safely. The night before their departure, I gazed at my parents hopefully and made my heartfelt request. "Mother, Father, could you possibly take me with you this time? I would love to live with you." Previously, they had kept me in the countryside because their apartment only provided access to schools for 2 children. Emma, being exactly 1 year older than Brandon, had occupied both available spots. Since I couldn't attend school in New York, I had to remain in Wisconsin for my education. However, now that Brandon had entered middle school, one of the school spots had become available. I could finally attend school in New York. Father David and Mother exchanged a meaningful glance that I couldn't interpret. After a moment, Mother spoke carefully. "I'm concerned that you might struggle to keep up with the curriculum if you transfer to a new school. The educational materials used here differ significantly from those used in New York." I eagerly retrieved my honor certificates. "But Mother, I receive first place every year. My teachers praise my intelligence. My grades are excellent." Mother continued her objections. "I still don't think it's a good idea. You speak with a rural accent, and the students there might tease you. You would certainly feel uncomfortable. What if your grades suffer as a result?" At that moment, Brandon, who was sitting in Mother's lap, snickered condescendingly. "Oh my goodness, this is absolutely hilarious. Do you realize how few students attend school in your tiny town? What significance does being first place here have? I'm truly amazed." Emma joined in, mocking me. "Do you understand genetics? Our entire family has always struggled academically. Brandon and I both have poor grades. I find it impossible to believe that by the time we get to you, our genes suddenly mutated to make you intelligent." Amid the room's cruel laughter, I fled in tears. Though I was young, I could sense the subtle malice hidden within their amusement. I simply wanted to be with my parents forever. I had done nothing wrong. Only Grandmother Margaret followed me outside. She gently wiped my tears with her handkerchief. "Little Mia, please don't cry. When you grow a bit older, your parents will certainly bring you to live with them." I didn't believe her. "Really? Truly? Trust your grandmother. They're not taking you away now because you're still too young and the long car ride would make you uncomfortable. What about waiting until next year? Next year you'll be 10 years old, a big girl, and they'll definitely take you with them." Grandmother's words helped me stop crying. So my parents were simply concerned about my comfort during the long journey, which was why they weren't taking me along. They didn't dislike me after all. Seeing my smile return, Grandmother lovingly stroked my head. "Good, Mia. Grandmother will give you another $100 for your savings, and tomorrow I'll make you apple pie." I accepted the money and gave Grandmother a grateful kiss. "Thank you, Grandmother. You're so wonderful." I then ran to my room to place the money in my treasured piggy bank. I had been saving money since I was 6 years old. Holiday money, allowances and earnings from helping grandmother sell recyclables and assist with farm work, along with the reward money she gave me, all went into my savings. Since my parents constantly mentioned their financial struggles, I planned to save money to help them. Whenever they needed funds, I would give them my savings. Looking at my piggy bank filled to capacity, I felt tremendous joy. In just 3 years, I had managed to save such a substantial amount. I decided to give them all my money immediately, then start saving another jar to give them later. I counted for a very long time, reaching a total of $1,134.58. While my parents were still watching television in the living room, I quietly slipped into their bedroom, intending to place the money in Mother's purse. By accident, I noticed her unlocked phone nearby, displaying those devastating text messages about me. "That little girl is truly annoying. Every time we come back, she's the one causing trouble." Another message read, "If this continues, I won't return anymore." The most crushing blow came with her final admission. "I never loved her anyway. I never wanted to have her. Her pregnancy was completely accidental. By the time I discovered I was pregnant, she was already nearly 5 months along. I was too afraid of the pain to have an abortion. So my parents had never wanted me. No wonder I had been sent to the countryside when I was only 6 months old to live with grandmother." The way my parents looked at Brandon and Emma differed entirely from how they looked at me. Every year on their birthdays, Brandon and Emma celebrated with birthday cakes, but when my birthday arrived, my parents would forget entirely. Last Christmas, the family photograph they brought back featured only the 4 of them, with no place for me at all. They claimed it was because of the great distance, making it impossible to include me in the photo. Previously, I had believed their explanations, but now I understood the truth. They simply didn't care about me. I wiped away my tears and retrieved the money. As I rushed out, I encountered grandmother heating water in the kitchen. I threw my arms around her. "Grandmother, I'll never love mother and father again. I only love you." Grandmother gently patted my back. "Why are you crying again? Are you sad about your parents leaving?" I shook my head, forcing back my tears. "No, I'm sad about leaving you. Even if they wanted me to go with them, I wouldn't want to. I only want to stay with grandmother." Several warm teardrops fell onto my hands. I couldn't tell whether they were mine or grandmother's. I hugged her tighter. "Grandmother, are you crying?" "No, grandmother is smiling." When my parents departed, I expected to cry or cause another scene. However, when they saw me simply standing quietly without saying anything, they seemed momentarily surprised and uncomfortable. After processing this change, they looked at me with relief. Mia has truly grown up. She didn't cry when we left this time. This makes everything so much easier. Mia, we keep you at grandmother's house for your own good. Your brother and sister's rooms combined aren't as large as your single bedroom. Country living is wonderful. We've never deprived you of food or clothing, and you can do whatever you want. How comfortable is that life? Mother handed me several bills. "Don't worry. Once your father and I earn enough money, we'll definitely come get you." I accepted the money and forced a smile, thanking her. "Thank you, but I don't need it. I want to live with grandmother. I only love my grandmother." Mother seemed momentarily stunned. Her lips, painted with red lipstick, moved for a long time without producing words. "Oh, you silly child. Loving grandmother is one thing, but you must also love your father and mother." Father pulled her aside. "Children are like that. They become attached to whoever raises them. It's perfectly normal. Mia, since you love your grandmother so much, you can continue living with her. It will provide her with companionship." As soon as they got in their car, I couldn't be bothered to pretend to say goodbye. I immediately ran back to the yard to watch cartoons. From that point forward, I never again competed to answer their phone calls. I stopped asking about their lives. Even when they requested that I speak with them, I would merely say, "Hello, Mother," and "Hello, Father," before running off to watch television or do homework. Our town had only one child attending school in the city, and that was me. Every day, Grandmother would drive her old Chevrolet pickup truck to take me to and from school. Worried that I might get cold, she kept blankets and a thermos of hot water in the vehicle. During our commute, I could sleep comfortably inside. According to townspeople, modern parents made tremendous sacrifices for their children's education, purchasing homes in large cities, or even renting apartments to ensure their children could attend urban schools. Grandmother had explained that my parents worked away from home specifically to provide Brandon and Emma with excellent educational opportunities. However, they had forgotten about me because I was superfluous. My teacher, Mrs. Johnson, had taught me that every person born into this world has value. I didn't consider myself superfluous at all. What others said didn't matter. People claimed that small-town students couldn't excel academically, but Mrs. Johnson assured me that I was, indeed, very intelligent. I believed my teacher's words. After the school year began, I asked my teacher, "Mrs. Johnson, what is the finest university in the world?" "The world is enormous, and I cannot say with certainty. I can only tell you about the best universities in America." "Teacher, what are America's finest universities, and how big is the world?" "Those would certainly be Harvard and MIT. These institutions only accept the top students from each state and have histories spanning several centuries, with exceptionally talented professors. As for how big the world is, I'll give you a world map." I silently strengthened my resolve. "Then I want to attend Harvard someday. I want to see the world." My teacher seemed momentarily surprised, then touched my head. "Wonderful. Work hard, and I have confidence in you." I asked Mrs. Johnson many questions. Why do so many people move to big cities? What are genes? If Brandon and Emma struggle academically, would their sister also lack intelligence? Why do adults always lie to children? Mrs. Johnson explained that larger cities offered superior educational resources and greater opportunities to attend prestigious universities. Although I could only attend school in our small town, I could supplement my education through online courses to bridge some gaps. On weekends, I convinced Grandmother to take me to the county seat. Using the $2,000 I had saved, I purchased a tablet computer. Seeing my genuine commitment to learning, Grandmother contributed money to install broadband internet at our house. Since our small-town school ended early each afternoon around 3 o'clock, I devoted every available moment to studying. I wished I could split time in half, using every minute twice. Students following competitive academic tracks faced enormous mental pressure because we were surrounded by the best students from schools everywhere. My coach explained that genius might be 1 in 10,000, like finding gold. However, in a country as populous as America, gold was abundant. Simply being gold wasn't sufficient. We had to emerge from trials by fire, proving ourselves as genuine gold through countless challenges. Climbing uphill was exhausting, and standing still was equally tiring, but we couldn't give up. After all, those who had reached this point and persevered this far all possessed unwavering determination. Some were driven by desires for gold medals, others by hopes for scholarships, and still others simply wanted to prove themselves. I couldn't articulate exactly whom I was trying to prove myself to. If I was trying to prove myself to my parents, then I had already won the moment my coach recruited me. If I was trying to prove myself to my coach, I had already received his praise. Then one day, while looking in the mirror, I suddenly noticed the name on my identification badge, Mia Ross. Yes, perhaps I was trying to prove myself to myself. My contact with my family became increasingly infrequent. My parents often tried to reach me, but I had no time to respond. Only endless problem sets kept me company. Finally, during my freshman year of high school, I qualified for admission to Harvard University. The condition was that I must score above 1450 on the SAT exam in 2 years. That day, I called my coach, my grandmother, and Mrs. Johnson through tears of joy. I even told every stray cat and dog I encountered on the street. 4 years of effort had finally earned me this qualification. I had succeeded in my challenge. However, I knew the real test was just beginning. Since I had previously focused intensively on mathematics, my knowledge in other subjects remained superficial, and my overall grades weren't strong. Achieving 1450 points within 2 years represented a genuine challenge for me. Using the prize money I had accumulated through years of competition, I brought grandmother to live with me in Chicago. During these busy years, my visits with her had always been hurried. Only now did I suddenly realize that grandmother appeared much older. Somehow my parents learned that I had brought grandmother to live with me, and they could no longer remain passive. To compete for grandmother's place in my heart, they actually brought grandmother Betty, my maternal grandmother, insisting that she live with us as well. I see that you're quite filial, preferring to live with elderly people. We can't show favoritism. Your maternal grandmother likes you very much too, so you should spend time living with her as well. Grandmother Betty moved in forcefully, spending every day attempting to brainwash me with her outdated beliefs about male superiority. You child must have absorbed all your brother's nutrition. When he was small, your brother was particularly intelligent and clever. After you became smart, he became stupid. You must have absorbed his intelligence. I responded without mercy. I haven't been practicing some mystical absorption technique. How could I possibly transfer his intelligence into my brain? Furthermore, if I had truly absorbed his intelligence, I would only have become as foolish as he is. Grandmother Betty became so angry she began scolding me. You wretched girl, you've completely overstepped your bounds. How dare you talk back to me like this? Your mother wouldn't dare argue with me. Where do you get such audacity? Your brother has staying power. He's repeating his senior year with great dedication and will certainly surpass you. I couldn't help but laugh. The thought of my brother's academic performance was genuinely amusing. Despite enjoying the finest educational resources since childhood, his grades remained abysmal. During his transition from elementary to middle school, they spent over $20,000 on various tutoring programs, yet he still couldn't pass the entrance exam and had to attend the local district school through a lottery system. During high school examinations, he scored only 1 point above the minimum requirement. He attended a very ordinary high school and scored only 960 on his SAT. Originally, he hadn't planned to repeat the year, intending instead to attend a community college casually. However, upon hearing about my potential Harvard admission, he changed his mind and returned home to repeat his senior year. I paid no attention to his secret competition with me because he simply wasn't worth my time. To defend me, Grandmother Margaret argued with Grandmother Betty daily. She hoped to drive Betty away through constant conflict, providing me with a better study environment. However, Grandmother Betty, burdened with the mission my parents had entrusted to her, continued arguing with Grandmother Margaret while showing no signs of leaving. Instead, she began scheming against me. During winter break, I discovered that she had secretly sold my notebooks at high prices to other students. She also demanded that I tutor other children in mathematics. When I refused, she insisted that I tutor Brandon. If you won't tutor other children, surely you'll help your own brother. You two are family, sharing success and failure together. I'm telling you, throughout history, ungrateful people never meet good ends. If you won't help your own brother, whom will you help? I'm making this clear today. Not only must you tutor your brother, but you'll also need to guide his future children, helping them succeed and live well. This is your responsibility." I couldn't restrain myself from arguing back. "Your brother's family is quite wealthy, isn't it? They bought a house in the county seat years ago. So why can't you afford to buy one now? Aren't family members supposed to support each other through thick and thin? Why doesn't your brother give you money to spend? Is a brother's responsibility to take his sister's possessions?" Grandmother Betty was rendered speechless by my retort, too angry to respond. Grandmother Margaret handed me a glass of water and spoke earnestly. "I've watched you grow up, and I understand your personality better than anyone. I know you harbor resentment toward your parents, but they have indeed wronged you. If you truly dislike them, you can completely refuse their demands. As long as you won't regret your decision later, you don't need to pay attention to your maternal grandmother's words." I buried myself in Grandmother Margaret's embrace, drawing from her the only warmth available to me. Before I knew it, my SAT results were announced. I had successfully gained admission to Harvard University. When my parents learned this news, they were so excited they wanted to host elaborate celebration banquets. They claimed they wanted everyone to know they had raised a Harvard student. I didn't agree to their plans, simply asking for money instead. "You don't need to organize any celebration dinner for me, just give me the money directly." Father was so delighted he could barely contain his joy, his smile nearly reaching his ears. "Excellent, excellent. Will $20,000 suffice? Consider this your reward for buying a new phone and computer." As soon as the money arrived, I immediately accepted it. I used the funds to arrange comprehensive medical examinations for Grandmother Margaret. Learning that she was healthy without even a single nodule brought me tremendous relief. I took her to enjoy her favorite steak dinner. Grandmother was typically frugal, and while she loved steak, she considered it too expensive and rarely dined out, preferring to cook at home. This time, she would only agree to enter a $32 all-you-can-eat restaurant. You still need to attend university and should save your own money. Don't spend everything. Your parents are giving you money now because they see your success, but save what they give you. Given your temperament, if you have a conflict with them someday and they refuse to support your education, what would you do? Understanding Grandmother's concerns, I repeatedly promised not to spend money carelessly before she felt satisfied. "Grandmother, once I finish school and find employment, I'll bring you to live with me immediately." "Good, I'll wait for you to come get me." Later, I completed my master's and doctoral degrees. After graduation, I joined a technology company in Silicon Valley. My parents, as always, showed me kindness whenever they wanted something in return. "Little Mia, your brother still doesn't have proper employment. We heard you're working in Silicon Valley. Could you possibly help your brother get a position there? He's become more intelligent recently and can research various subjects. Mia, your sister's child is as bright as you were when you were young. We heard you own property in California. Could you possibly allow your sister's child to attend school under your name? California has excellent educational resources. Mia, your father and I aren't feeling well lately. We're preparing to divide family responsibilities among you children. Those who are more capable should bear greater burdens. We should match caregiving responsibilities to income levels. How much do you earn monthly? Please contribute half to support your father and me. We're elderly now, and it's your turn to care for us." You see, some parents behave exactly this way. After ignoring their children for years, they suddenly discover that one child has achieved success. They immediately emerge, attempting to use biological bonds and blood relationships to manipulate the child into providing every conceivable benefit. If I were currently an ordinary person struggling to survive and seeking their assistance, they would undoubtedly abandon me without hesitation. Even parents calculate their own interests. I prepared to give them $100,000, demanding that they never disturb me again afterward. Over the years, I had meticulously recorded every dollar they had spent on me in my notebook. During my undergraduate master's and doctoral studies spanning over 10 years, they had provided me with a total of $94,321. I maintained these detailed records so that someday I could repay them completely and sever our relationship. Seeing my determination to completely disconnect from them, my mother couldn't tolerate it. "I am your mother. I gave birth to you. How can you behave this way? This isn't about $100,000. I gave you life, and life is priceless. You will always be my child. Do you believe I could sue you?" I applauded her response. "Go ahead and try. In that case, I'll provide you with $200 monthly, exactly as the law requires." Given this situation, I decided not to give them the $100,000 either. I would wait for them to take me to court, which would actually save me money. After establishing myself securely in California, I immediately brought Grandmother Margaret to live with me. I had always known that initially, Grandmother hadn't liked me either. When I was sent back to her care, Grandfather had recently passed away, and her only connection to that family had ended. She wasn't my biological grandmother, but rather my father's stepmother. Originally, she hadn't wanted to care for a granddaughter with whom she shared no blood relation. However, my mother had warned that if Grandmother also refused to raise me, they would have no choice but to give me away for adoption. Grandmother couldn't bear this possibility, so she accepted me as an infant. She had never raised children before, but managed to bring me up through sheer determination. She explained that she had always found me particularly pitiful, feeling sorry that I was born unloved by both father and mother. Therefore, she decided to treat me kindly, even more kindly, so that when I remembered my childhood, I would still have sweet memories. When I embraced her that day and declared, "Grandmother, I love you most in this lifetime," she secretly cried throughout the night. Her various life experiences had taught her that genuine affection didn't exist in this world, that betrayal was inevitable. After all, when her father died when she was 13, her mother sent her to another village family as a child bride. Later, in her early 20s, she was forced into marriage. Her first husband had a terrible temper and was quite violent, striking her whenever she failed to obey his commands completely. When she was 7 or 8 months pregnant, he became furious because she hadn't followed his instructions exactly, making him lose face in front of his friends, so he beat her severely. She miscarried as a result, and could never have children again. Her first husband abandoned her. She wanted to return to her family home, but her sister-in-law refused to let her enter because during that era, every family was poor, and an additional person meant another mouth to feed. She had no choice but to remarry. During that time, women who couldn't bear children had difficulty finding new husbands and could only marry widowers with sons. Eventually, she married my grandfather, who was 11 years her senior. She was only 12 years older than my father. Despite working tirelessly to manage household duties throughout her life, she never earned the children's genuine affection. My father never considered her his mother, and my mother was no exception, visiting during New Year celebrations merely as an obligation. Their communication was minimal, occurring primarily through phone calls about me. Therefore, under those circumstances, little me became her only source of emotional attachment. She realized that throughout her previous 60-plus years, I was the only person who had ever treated her as family. She felt grateful to me. Consequently, during our subsequent years together, she treated me even better, spending all her accumulated savings on me, while finding ways to obtain additional support from my parents. During her spare time, she would work part-time jobs on other people's farms. Fortunately, I proved worthy of her investment, frequently earning prize money through competitions that helped us manage financially. From my perspective, I should be the one thanking her. Without her silent support behind the scenes throughout these years, I never could have achieved my current success. Now I truly understand those ancient verses of poetry. Family bonds often don't require blood relationships at all. I only hope that my grandmother will live to be 100 years old, remaining forever healthy, able to stay with me always.